my friends. We are here back at the beer table. We are here in Bellingham, Washington at Boundary Bay Brewing Company. I'm Tom.
I'm Ed.
I'm John.
I'm Gary.
And we have now reached our favorite part of the show. This is the tasting. And as you can see from this stellar lineup, this is going to be fun. At least for us. You, I don't know. Yeah. My suggestion to you is to get here as soon as you can.
Definitely.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is a lineup of beer, my friends.
I hope we can make it through it.
I hope so. We can. We're tough.
Sure.
So we're going to start with the Ski to Sea ESB.
Yes.
And the Ski to Sea Festival, if you don't know, if you're not from these parts, is a festival we have in late May on Memorial Day weekend every year here, and involves a multi-stage race that goes from Mount Baker to the Bay. And Boundary Bay has a team, a women's team that tends to win every single year.
Nice.
I've had a team for 20 years. I'm really
John does
involved
it
in it.
all
I love the
himself.
Ski to Sea. I do not. I can barely get through one leg, my friend, but I do the race.
But if you're in
So-
town, be sure and come down. We have live music throughout that weekend. And here we are in our beer garden. This is where most of it happens. So
Which will
Right
be much more
on.
crowded and noisy than this
it'll
during
be
the
a
Ski to Sea
little bit
Festival.
more.
Yes, it'll be
A
crazy.
few hundred people in here for sure.
Let's get to the
Okay,
chase. Come
let's
on,
taste.
let's drink
John,
on
you're always in such a hurry to
I
taste.
can't help it.
Wow.
That's the
Well,
best
the first
part.
one. So again, this is a great beer to start off with. It's a dry hopped version of our regular ESB. And so you get that kind of real nice, from the dry hopping, of course, you get a nice floral from the raw hops that are added.
Yeah, and it's that's
Super
just a
fresh.
super tasty ESB.
Indeed.
That is,
Fresh
that's
fruit.
mellow.
Isn't that nice?
That is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very smooth. It has a beautiful component on the back end. It doesn't have that bite that a lot of ESBs have.
Yeah.
This is just, man,
Yeah.
it knows where to go.
Yeah.
Put it in your mouth.
This is the first
it
time
walks
I've had
there.
this too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What? Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it is.
Man, you're
I
missing,
don't know where
boy.
I've been, but
And we do bottle this once a year, so it is available.
Oh, available in 22s?
22s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably
I
leave
should
here with
say
a 22 of
the
that
first
today.
time this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
God, that really is. That's a great ESB.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
got a
nice.
nice hop character to it.
It
Yeah.
does.
Thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, very good.
Really good. That's nice.
That's a good session beer. That's
Yeah.
what people
It
should be drinking
Yep.
during
Yeah.
the festival.
Yeah,
Sunny day.
There you go.
Our second beer is our Scotch Ale. And as I said before, this was our original flagship beer. And originally it was supposed to be our first seasonal specialty beer. It wasn't going to be on all the time, but it was in our initial lineup. But it's been so popular that we've been brewing it ever since. So we've never taken it off tap, and it's definitely a beer. If you've never had it, it's a unique beer. Well, let's taste it first, and then we'll talk a little
Okay.
bit more.
Nice.
I think the popularity of this beer is that it's not a true Scotch ale, which is tends to be more like 8% alcohol, a little on the sweet side. And then the other side of the spectrum is a Scottish ale, or export Scottish, and it tends to be about 4.5% alcohol. This is kind of in the middle, and I think that's part of the appeal. It's about 6.4%, and but has very good balance. Again, one of our trademarks that we'll talk about this later in the tasting, but it has a touch of sweetness compared to the other beers that we make here, but a good tasting beer.
Oh, it's a fabulous Scotch. It just is. If you walk into an establishment and you see Boundary Bay handles and they have Boundary Bay IPA and Boundary Bay Scotch, stay. You've picked a quality establishment. I love to walk into a place I've never been before and see that they've got Boundary Bay Scotch and IPA. Then I know somebody there, has a great taste in beer, and I know I can have something that I love in that establishment.
And a lot of places do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Well, what's good about this beer is that I call it a niche beer in that you don't see a lot of scotches around. And so when we go out and sell it in the marketplace, we can look at their lineup of handles, and they usually will have blonde ales and IPAs and stouts and whatever, but oftentimes they don't have a Scotch ale.
When my wife and I moved here, first time we came here, for lunch. This was the first beer I had,
Oh, nice.
Really?
and I
Nice.
thought, holy smokes, this one is just crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
fantastic.
And on that note, let's move on to the next beer you had
Okay.
here,
Oh,
which had
you're-
to have been the IPA. Here we go.
Yes.
Hopheads unite.
I don't know if I'm done with this yet.
I know.
You can come back to them off camera. We won't leave any of this. There'll be nothing left.
So we go. So we went from our first flagship beer, but and now we go into our true big flagship beer that we make here at Boundary Bay, and our reputation is known a lot because of this beer. It as people realize, when we opened in 1995, we didn't actually brew an IPA. Not many IPAs were available, but we quickly, within a year, we brewed this beer. We really dialed it in, and we think it's a very, very tasty IPA.
Boy, dialed it in, you
Yeah,
did.
everybody thinks it's a very tasty IPA. Look at the color on that thing.
Yeah, part of our trademark is, sure, an IPA is a hoppy beer, and it's got to be hoppy to be an IPA. But the trick to we feel making a great IPA is to have balance to it. So you balance the malts and the hops together, and you come up with a very, very drinkable beer.
Absolutely.
You
and
know, I've
that
said
is-
this
Oh,
in previous shows, that whenever we review somebody's beer, we're not doing this, you know, even if the brewer, the owner is here, I mean, we're going to give our honest opinion, and not because you're here, Ed, but really, we'd say the same thing if we were 10 miles away, 100 miles away. This is probably one of the best IPAs I know that we've had out of a large group of IPAs. So, I mean, kudos to you guys. You guys just absolutely hammered this one.
It has a little more alcohol than the Scotch. It's about 7.2% alcohol by volume. And the IBUs are
Almost
about
sounds here.
68, 69 IBUs. So, pretty hoppy beer.
Nice.
absolutely.
That's-
We're moving on to the Imperial IPA.
Yes, we are.
So, what are we looking at for IBUs on this one?
Well, this is our Imperial IPA, and we didn't brew that until a little later in our evolution. But the IBUs on this beer is about 99. So very hoppy beer,
the top
and
of the
expensive
scale.
beer to make because of all the hops that are in there, but a pretty unique style that's becoming more and more popular. And a lot of people know us for this beer as well. We've won national and international awards for our Imperial IPA.
Which is no surprise whatsoever, because
Yeah.
this is not the first time I've had this. This is fabulous.
Yeah, it was hard not to
It's-
interrupt you. I was going to say, let's
Yeah.
drink it.
What's the ABV on this?
This is about 9.5 to 10%
Yeah,
alcohol.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. A gigantic Imperial IPA.
Holy smokes. Hey, we've talked about hot beers too. This is not a hot beer. You could tell that it's a much bigger beer. I mean, it's full-bodied, amazing. Holy, from the beginning to the mid-palate to the finish, the back end. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
It's just smoothie smooth,
Well,
and
like
it's
you say,
just
not
delicious.
hot.
And
Yeah.
Smoothie
it's
smooth.
complex.
That's a trademark.
You would know it was
There you go.
10%.
Smoothie smooth. Not just smooth.
Just smoothie
but smoothie
smooth.
smooth.
I mean, trademark that.
To balance out all those hops, you need to keep it in balance. You need more malted barley. Well, if you use more malted barley and you ferment it to the same level of dryness that a lot of these beers are, then you end up with more alcohol. So it's not like we brew it for a lot of alcohol. It's the result of blending all the ingredients together.
You get a high residual sugar.
Nice.
No,
That's
that's the thing. That's the key, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And
So
Go back
we're
to
moving
that.
on to the Imperial
Later.
Stout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the Imperial Stout?
Is this the Imperial or is this just the
Oatmeal.
oatmeal stout?
This is the Imperial Oatmeal Stout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's pretty much all we brew now is our Imperial Oatmeal Stout. We also have a dry stout, which
Oh,
is
the
more
Irish
Guinness
dry- okay.
style, but that's much lower in alcohol.
Okay.
And this beer it's another Imperial beer, and higher in alcohol. It's about 9.5% alcohol, but again, it blends a lot of the great
And
flavors.
it just
and-
smells
smell it.
like candy.
great nose.
It's just candy nice.
This is the one we got to get to go with the chocolate pairing.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Oh.
goes-
That is a beautiful
That's
beer
another
also.
episode.
I mean, holy cow.
stay tuned.
And that is one thing I will say, Ed, about your brewery is, your lineup across the board, it just stands up there. I don't know of another brewery that can do this, that can put, 6 beers on the table where just
No.
one after another you just go, oh my God, that is so good.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's really beautiful. That's
Yeah.
nice and chocolatey. I
Yeah.
mean, it's well-rounded.
Yeah.
I-
Boundary sets the bar high.
when Ed said that he went to UC Davis, right away you struck a chord with me that if I could do things over again, yeah, I'd still do the same thing that I do now. But God, I'd love to go to UC Davis and learn
There's still
viniculture.
That's a pretty
Okay.
yummy beer.
Hey.
Oh, it's delicious.
You better back off
I
on
know
that
it. I
one,
can't.
boy.
I
Okay.
almost
you're
moved
right.
on. You see me moving on? I
Okay.
can't help myself.
Here's our last beer. This is an amazing beer. This is our Old Bounder barley wine. Now, barley wine is a pretty extreme
Fruity.
beer and high in alcohol. And a lot of people think, well, why is it called a wine? Well, traditionally it had such high alcohol. People said, well, maybe it's more like a wine than it is a beer. But it's still a beer made from malted barley. And we brew one batch a year. So,
Tons of ingredients.
yeah, very complex beer. It's not very hoppy. It's very malty, and we always brew it in January. So, and then usually release it after a year of aging. So this is our 2011.
Oh,
Brewed in
nice.
January 2011.
And it is just gigantic. It is a
But
fabulous
to me, this
beer.
has
is
still
nice.
got a good hop quality though,
Yeah.
which is really what I look for in a barley wine, because some
Yeah.
of them get oversweet,
Yeah.
and to me they're cloying, and you drink them and they're disappointing.
You have that high
Well-
sugar, that residual.
Yeah,
that-
it's just
it
it's
takes
not,
a lot of weight.
And this has got a good.
Yeah, I
Good
mean, you
hop
have to
element.
realize the hops are there not like necessarily like an IPA where they're there for the intensity of the hop flavor. You need the hops to balance
Balance it
out
out.
all the malted
Right.
barley. And so you need some hops. Again, our beers, we try to keep them in balance. Well, if you're going to use a very malted barley beer, then
Yeah,
you
isn't
need
that
some
just-
hops, and so there it's going to be underlying. But it's definitely much more malty than obviously our
Right.
other beers, our Imperial IPA.
What's the ABV on this bad boy here?
This is going to be pushing 10%.
You
And,
know
then,
what, it
and
doesn't-
then some, maybe?
It doesn't taste at 10%. I'd say okay, it's
No.
8, okay, maybe reaching 9. Well balanced.
Perfect. That's
Really
fabulous.
nice.
As a lineup, as a whole, unbelievable.
Man,
this
that's
start
good.
to finish. I love these beers. There's no question. Thank you so much, Ed.
From my palate,
pleasure.
this one caramel, a little vanilla, just a little nutty on the
Yes.
back end.
Yeah.
God, boom.
Chocolate pairing.
Perfect.
This, you know what this
Yeah, there
is?
you go.
This is one of
We
those.
got to get Ed down there. We got to get Ed down to do
I'm
this.
in.
We're gonna
Yeah,
jack
there
that
you
up
go.
on some barley wine and chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for having us over. What a great tasting. Every single beer that we've had, again, just because Ed's here, we're not going to pan him, we're not going to praise him, but, this is, the beer
Yeah, what a
speaks for his
stellar lineup.
Yeah.
Man,
Holy
wicked
cow.
good.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
be
for
sure,
coming.
if you're in Bellingham,
Appreciate
you got to come and find Boundary Bay. Make a trip.
Start here.
Yeah.
Because
start and finish
This
here.
is where you set the
Yep.
standard. Try the other places. You're probably going to end up back here.
Yeah, absolutely.
As
That's
always.
my palate, but you're probably going to end up back here.
Yeah. As always, thank you for joining us. Please drink responsibly. Thanks again. See you next time.
Cheers.
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 Cheers with the.
Cheers.
I'm on the old Bounder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, going back to the start. Nice.